Part 1. Antonio. Once upon a time, there was a quiet little village that sat between two big green hills, which were covered with trees. In that quiet little village lived a quiet little gardener named Antonio. Antonio was a nice man, but he was also a special man. He had a special gift, a talent that made him different from all the others in the village. He could talk to the plants, and the plants could talk to him. From the time he was a young boy, Antonio always found comfort in the company of plants. He spent his days caring for the vibrant flowers and the beautiful fruit trees that covered the gardens of the village. But what truly amazed the people of the village was the way that Antonio seemed to be speaking with his leafy friends. Some people thought he was crazy, but after some time they were convinced that his talent was real. He could bring a dying rose back to life with just a couple of days of his care. To Antonio, the plants were not just silent objects of the world around them. They were not only to be looked at. They were living creatures with their own thoughts, their own feelings, and even their own ideas. He would spend hours chatting with them, sharing stories from his day and listening intently as the plants whispered secrets of the earth. Sometimes they would even tell jokes. What's a chicken's favourite plant? An eggplant. One spring morning, as Antonio was trimming the hedges in the village square, he noticed a wilting, sad-looking rosebush hidden in a dark corner. Its petals, which had once been beautiful and bright red, were now drooping, and its leaves had turned an unhealthy shade of yellow. Antonio was concerned, and he didn't like to see unhappy plants. He bent down on his knees beside the struggling plant and gently placed a hand on its dry, yellow leaves. "What troubles you, my friend?" he asked softly. The rosebush was happy Antonio had found him. The rosebush knew Antonio. All the plants in the town did. It responded with a quiet whisper and shook its leaves. "I'm weary, Antonio. I'm tired of this life, and it's difficult down here in this dark, dark corner," it whispered. "The sun's rays don't reach me, and I'm scared. I'm scared I might never bloom again. Will you help me?" it asked, full of hope. Part 2. Hope. Antonio's heart felt heavy at the little plant's sad words. He knew he had to do something to help. With his gentle hands and a lot of care, he removed the rosebush and took it to a sunnier place in the gardens, where it could enjoy the warm embrace of sunlight all day long. During the next few weeks, Antonio came to visit the rosebush every day. He gave water to its roots and removed the old yellow leaves, as fresh green leaves started to grow in their place. When he was finished, he would whisper words of encouragement to it, and slowly, but surely, the rosebush began to revive. One bright and sunny morning, Antonio was walking to the village square. When he arrived, he was welcomed with the most beautiful sight. The sad little rosebush that had once struggled in the dark, dark corner now stood tall and proud, bright red petals on display for all the world to see. Antonio was, of course, so happy. "You did it," he said to the rosebush. "You bloomed again." As news of the miraculous rosebush spread through the village, people came from far away to see its beauty with their own eyes. And though many people told stories of Antonio's extraordinary gift, he remained the quiet, nice man he had always been. He knew that it was the power of love and care that had brought the rosebush back to life. From that day forward, Antonio's reputation as the village gardener spread far and wide. People would bring their sick plants and ask for Antonio's advice and care. His gardens became a sanctuary for all manner of plants, each one thriving under his gentle touch and kind words. But more than just a skilled gardener, Antonio became a reminder of hope for all who crossed his path. His story taught them that even in the darkest of times, even when things seem very difficult, maybe even impossible, there is always hope for another chance, always hope for light, and always hope that we can shine again. And so, as the sun set over the village and the stars twinkled in the night sky, Antonio stood among his beloved plants, grateful for the gift of life and the power of compassion, for he knew that, in the language of the earth, love always finds a way to bloom.